What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fight Podcast, the absolute best show in all the combat sports. I'm your host, SERG VICENTE, and joining me today is my brother from another mother, the founder and the president of the Bump Serum. We got Charles Johnson. Charles, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing there, boss? Welcome to my backyard, sunny California. I decided to take it outside today. How you doing today?
I'm well, man. Look, you over there making folks feel bad, man. Yeah, it's over here looking all nice, sitting outside in the sun, and everybody else out there, 16 degrees.
Hey, man. Hey,
to 25 with the wind chill.
This is what I say. If you over 30 years old, move. I did my time. I had 20-some years in Chicago. I had my reason. So
34 years, beautiful years in Chicago. If I never have to shovel another day in my life, it'd be too soon.
Yes.
We gotta let them know. Everybody who's watching live right now on Instagram, on Twitch, on YouTube, thank you guys so much for watching live. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this channel and also everything else that we're doing right here on the Fight Podcast. Also, check out our Substack. We write articles. We have Substack articles. Check out the Fight Podcast Substack. Also, do yourselves a favor. Go and check out our Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/FightPodShop. Get yourself some merch. We got hats. We got mugs. We got shirts. We got hoodies. Check us out. Support the show. All right. Let's jump on into it. We have to also talk about our sponsor, one of our wonderful sponsors of the show. And that's why we have my brother on here again, the Bump Serum. The Bump Serum, I am telling you, if you are, again, not just black, not just Latin, if you have any type of shaving bumps, I am telling you as a man, that is something that all of us have struggled with at one point in time or another. The way you stop it, do you see the skin? Do you see how he's glowing? Come on, say that's not just the sun. That's my man's head, out here looking like the black Mr. Clean, fresh to death, all right? Doing his thing. You see me over here? Look at that skin. Look at that. How do we get that? The Bump Serum. I'm telling you, it is the absolute best product right now coming to the market. You guys need to check it out, and we'll be talking about that and so much more here on the Fight Podcast. All right, really quick, before we jump into it, I have to talk about the Bump Serum really fast. And that product, what is the timetable for that product coming out? And also, in terms of the system, could you please explain to the people why the Bump Serum is superior to the products that are currently on the market?
Oh, thank you for that. I'm a terrible salesman because I didn't even bring a product to show you guys today. But hopefully you got in the studio. If you don't, that's all right. I'll be back.
We'll get it up there for y'all.
But hey, guys, seriously, I created this product years ago, and it's not just, and I call it a product, but it's 3 products in one kit. So there's a shaving gel, an aftershave, and a moisturizer sealant. They work together as one system, and that's one of the reasons that it works so well. There's going to be some validation coming out pretty soon from a VA clinic that did clinical testing on it to prove exactly what we're saying. High double-digit razor bump reduction after only 2 weeks of use. It's all 3 working together. We focused on inflammation, on reducing inflammation, and that was the foundation for the product. And then everything else is lubrication and making skin, kind of teaching your skin to grow the hair out properly.
Amazing. See, guys, Bump Serum is coming out soon, and we'll be giving promo codes right here on the Fight Podcast. Subscribe so you can go out there and get that when that comes out. All right.
That's right. I'm gonna take care of you guys.
You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. As our former, the last real president we had, after he hits that 3 as he walks off, that's what we do. All right. So, all right, let's move into it. The face of boxing. Over the last couple of weeks, people have been talking about who is the face of boxing. Terrence Crawford, who after his win last year against Saul Canelo Alvarez, people believe that he is, who now is the face of boxing now that that Terrence Crawford's gone, and Canelo Alvarez obviously is on the back 9. Gervonta Davis, a lot of people wanted to put in that space, but unfortunately, Gervonta Davis, he has more open cases than Agent Orange himself, so that can't be him. And then all of a sudden, we look at some of the other guys. Is it B-Ball? He barely speaks English. Is it some of these other dudes overseas? No, it's none other, in my opinion, than SHAKUR Stevenson after his last performance. Charles, am I tripping or am I being a prisoner of the moment?
Now, let me preface this by saying, look, I'm not a huge student of recent boxing. I'm one of them historian dudes, but from our last conversation, and SERG, SERG got hands, by the way. Our last conversation. I started, looking at it, especially the fights last week. I got a chance to catch two of them, the Stevenson Davis fight. And I gotta say, man, I really shouldn't call the Stevenson and Lopez fight a fight. It was more of an exhibition, a performance by Stevenson. Man, that dude was just like, just if you want to learn how to box, how to win at boxing, exactly, watch that fight. I mean, that was incredible. And I'm hearing, Crawford, obviously, his reputation, precedes him. The dude is amazing. I don't think we had him long enough as the face of boxing. And I think that's maybe why I'm sure you're going to bring it up at some point about, people trying to bring him out of retirement. But Stevenson, yeah, he has every nook and cranny, every ingredient you need to be the face of boxing.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
I mean, he's one of those guys, not only is SHAKUR Stevenson, he has the skills, as they say, got the skills to pay the bills. Not only that, he has the mentality and the mindset. He goes out there, he's obsessive what he does. And then obviously he has the athletic ability to back it up. And then on top of that, I talked about that on one of my shows last week, is I spoke on how specifically the team that he has around him. This nigga brought out the Avengers. Not only does he have, obviously, Keyshawn Davis, who we'll discuss in a little bit. He also has, Raymond Ford. In his ear, his best friends are Terrence Crawford and Andre Ward. These are the individuals that he is listening to on a daily basis, that he is working with on a daily basis. So if that is who we have, how is he not going to be great? It is impossible for him not to be great. And in terms of you were talking about with the reason I would say that we're talking about Bud Crawford. If I'm looking at Bud Crawford specifically and saying like he wasn't the face of boxing long enough, I would absolutely agree. I would agree. And the reason that I would agree with Terrence Crawford not being the face of boxing enough is honestly it's just hate. People did not want to see an individual that, because he did everything. If you watch what he did, he knocks everybody out. I think he has something like an 85% knockout ratio. He's slick. He's mean. The only difference is he didn't want to deal with the media in that way. And as media members, we need to do a better job of not just sitting there and, again, dealing with the media darlings, the Ryan Garcias who want to deal with media. Some of these dudes aren't that's not what they're here for. They're here to put hands on people and put butts in seats. And that's what Terrence Crawford was doing. Was he the face of boxing long enough? No. But when it boils down to it, we're going to look at Terrence Crawford as the best of his generation. Absolutely. So at least we have that.
Absolutely.
So there's that. All right. Now, SHAKUR, one thing I look at SHAKUR, he's 28 years old. He's a 4-division champion already at 28 years old. 126, 130, 135, 140. And he's only 28. Think about it. He has another 10 years if he wants to dominate and grow. You know what I'm saying? So what? Is he 25-0 now? Moving up to people. And here's one thing. I'll say, and I want to get your POV on this, Charles. People look at him and specifically saying, "Oh, Serge, he has no power. He's not power." I don't know what you fools was looking at, because last time I checked, especially at 140, there is a reason why people don't go in there. If he didn't have pop, and I say the exact same thing about Mayweather, if Mayweather didn't have power, people would just walk them down. You'll be able to walk them down. You don't care about what's coming back, and you'll be able to dominate. But the fact of the matter is, you can't do that because those dudes can crack too. And then on top of that, they're sharp. Did you see how sharp SHAKUR was with that jab? Every time
That
he
was one of the
hit,
fastest jabs I ever seen. I mean, that dude was just like incredible. You know, when people say just like you don't have any power, I'm looking at Lopez. And now, granted, this is me. I'm disillusioned with the sport. Because of a lot of those things you were saying. Terrence Crawford not getting his day. Early enough, that type of thing. But me coming back and looking at this, almost from like an outside point of view, and I don't know one fighter from the other. But I can tell you one thing: when I looked at Lopez, versus Stevenson, Lopez didn't have any power. When I'm looking, say, oh, he don't have any power. Lopez didn't have any power.
Well, and here's the thing: I'll say this: Lopez is known as a power puncher. Lopez is known as a knockout artist. And the thing about that is, it don't matter how hard you hit if you can't hit the target.
Yeah, that's yeah, and that's where Floyd was good at that for sure. It's hard to hit that boy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't say enough about that fight with SHAKUR, man. I mean, I literally couldn't find any flaws in anything. I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is a championship fight. Who the hell did he choose as an opponent? And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. No, the other guy's the champion.
He moved up a weight class. So he moved up the weight class in order to fight not just any champion at the weight class, the best champion at the weight class, the Ring Magazine, the lineal champion at that weight class. He dominated. The judges had it 11 rounds to 1. I had it 12 rounds to nothing.
Yeah, I could see the 11-1. I think it was like maybe around round 7.
It was the 8th round, but he was still outstruck. Teofimo was still outstruck in that round. It was a sympathy round. It was.
Yeah,
what?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That was in total belt to ass that round.
Yeah. I think that Lopez, like one thing that I noticed almost right away, and we talked about this last, my man Hagler. I don't think anyone has done this better than him, where he kept a safe distance, but he had this jab that was fast, but he also lunged in the jab. And he knew how to time it where he really couldn't be countered, or where his opponent couldn't kind of connect with him as he's lunging forward. And I saw a lot of Stevenson doing that, a lot of that, keeping his safe distance, but lunging forward right at the time to just get Lopez. And I think Lopez just got frustrated, just like, shit, I can't even handle this. Yeah. How can I handle any combination or anything else? I think he was just confused.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this: as a father, watching Teofimo Lopez's father in the corner of that fight, there was zero advice being given in the corner. It was more, in my opinion, was kind of making them. There was a lot of belittling him in my opinion. What happened to your power, bro? What happened to your power? Where's your footwork? Nigga, that was you. He don't got that because, one, he fought a guy who has better footwork and who has better movement. But on top of that, if you want to give him good advice, you do certain things. SHAKUR Stevenson is a southpaw. Teofimo Lopez is a conventional. As a conventional fighter, why are you sitting here facing the southpaw with your left hand down by your hip when his jab hand is right in front of you? That is an easy thing. Hey, son, pick your hand up so that he can't directly jab you in the face because he's destroying us with the jab. Yeah, those are things that he can say. So as a father who, honestly, like I said, you're coaching your son, you've worked with your son, all these things. Do you feel as if Teofimo Sr. is failing as a coach and as a father in those moments?
Absolutely. I do feel that you have to study the opponent, and I don't feel like he did, because if he did, he wouldn't just be giving advice and what's happening to you. He would be giving more advice of like, hey, he's coming at you, this way, you may need to, slip a little bit more, like you said, put your guard up. I mean, it's just simple. I mean, you're so exposed, but whatever off the block, but you have to give those instructions. Teddy Atlas, is that his name? Yeah. Okay. Well, just my brain just went somewhere else for a quick second. But Teddy Atlas was good at that. He gave specific instructions of what the fighter was doing wrong, and how to correct it because of the success that the opponent was having in those rounds. He was really good at that, and I think a lot of not just Teofimo Senior, but a lot of coaches, need to, adopt that mentality. And that's another thing that kind of ran me away from boxing a little bit. Is just like, the corners, just like you can't just say, okay, we did our job, we just here to like pat water on your head and say, hey man, you're losing the rounds. Anybody can do that. You got to coach them in the moment. Everything else is just is preparation for the fight. Coaching is like actually in the fight, and I don't see a lot of that these days, and certainly not with that fight.
There's a fantastic moment, one of my favorite corner moments. I mean, the great Teddy Atlas that you just mentioned has a moment when he's in there with Tim Bradley, and he's yelling at him, "We're firemen, we're doing this," and he's hyping him up. There's another moment that I love, that is Virgil Hunter, the great trainer of the great, one of my favorites of all time, Andre Ward. Speaking of, Shakur Stevenson, one of Shakur Stevenson's best friends and mentors, Andre Ward in his first fight at 175 against Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev was the #1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world who was scaring everybody. He goes out there, gets dropped in the second round. Virgil Hunter is sitting there in his corner. I believe it was somewhere around the 6th round. He looks at him. He literally goes down the list. Sugar Ray got up. Ali got up. Such and such got up. You got up. Go win this fight. And like those type of moments and understanding your athlete, that's where the cornerman makes their money. Right. Not in the ring and everything else in the preparation. Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, proved that he has gotten as far as he has in spite of his father than he did because of his father. So salute to Teofimo Lopez, even though you're a racist piece of shit half the time, but you're a good fighter. So salute. All right, moving right along. Let's really quick touch on, I want to talk about Keyshawn Davis. I know that's another fight that we're watching. People talk about the face of boxing, people who have an opportunity to. I want to ask you this. Keyshawn Davis, brilliant performance. Goes out there, and again, this is one of the Avengers. Going out there, and he destroyed Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz is somebody that had a tough fight against, Lomachenko. And a lot of people arguably said beat Teofimo Lopez. He goes out there, he gets stopped in the 12th round by Keyshawn Davis. Really quick, before we even get into my thoughts, what were your thoughts of that fight?
So again, walking into this fight, I didn't know much about either fighter. And, at the beginning of the fight, it was kind of odd, was that, when they're in the center of the ring, looking at the listening to the referee's instructions, and you got Ortiz was focused in, he was just looking like, yeah, I'm going to kill this dude. And Davis actually was kind of like looking down away, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Just like, this guy just has absolutely no confidence until that bell rang. Then we saw exactly what the true story was. And I was shocked. And unless
hey, real quick, you say that because you don't know. Keyshawn Davis is a wild man and one of the most confident fighters you'll ever see. Even
I learned that quick.
Even leading into that fight, he was in that full face, like, I'm gonna knock your ass out. So like just to keep it a bean. That's
interesting. Okay.
But that's why I love having people, and this is one of the beautiful things about the show. And not only is this a show for hardcore combat sports fans, I've always wanted this to be an opportunity for people to learn. Because here's the thing. I love combat sports. I love boxing. I love MMA. And to me, when I'm looking at it, it's like if I'm looking at art, I am looking at Joffrey Ballet when I am watching combat sports. So I want to be able to have individuals like yourselves and others be able to have the opportunity to learn the sport and feel the passion and the love that I have for it, because it's that fucking dope. All right. So yes, continue. That's why I love having these conversations.
No, it's good. I love hearing that background. This is, the more recent history that, that I haven't, been paying attention to. But I didn't get a chance, the tail of the tape, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. Is Jermaine or Keyshawn taller?
They're about the same height.
About the same height? Okay, because
I think Keyshawn I think Keyshawn's a touch taller. Keyshawn's about an inch taller.
He fights really low, because when I'm looking at him, I'm just like, Ortiz is taller. He's not using his height. But I guess he's Davis is just one of those guys who, just like spring up his power.
He definitely fights in levels. Depending on where he is, he'll stand tall. He gets low. He comes out. He's constantly moving so that his opponents, and that's when he made a great point. And I wish I had this clip, but people don't give him the credit that he deserves defensively because we look at how incredible explosive he is. But again, he is in the same camp as Shakur Stevenson. He's a guy that is getting the same way that Shakur is downloading knowledge from an Andre Ward and a Terrence Crawford. Keyshawn Davis is downloading information from Shakur Stevenson. So those type of wrinkles you're starting to see in his game, the up and down, the acting, and even in the finishing sequence when he hit that body shot, he goes out there, he throws a straight right hand, he throws a left hook that actually grazes the top of the head, and then what he ends up doing is he switches his stance. So he does a switch, and then where you would think, where I'm assuming Jermell Ortiz, you can tell, thought the right hand was coming, he snuck the left hand back in there. Beautiful sequence, but all of that was predicated off of his defense and the levels and angles that he was hitting. Beautiful performance by Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis, in my opinion, is going to be a handful for anybody. He, after the fight, goes out there and calls out Devin Haney. Devin Haney, as we know, honestly, I'm going to say this real quick. Hold on, wait a minute. All you motherfuckers going out here shitting on Devin Haney, okay? Devin Haney is one of the best of this generation. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Look at this man's resume. He doesn't duck any smoke. Yes, his dad is loud. Yes, his pops is annoying. But guess what? Also puts his son in the right positions, travels all around, and makes sure he gets all the coaching and everything that he needs. This guy went out there. Everybody said that Brian Norman Jr., who has 2025's knockout of the year, was going to go out there and do the exact same thing to Devin Haney because Devin Haney had one bad fight against Ryan Garcia, who was on steroids. So all of a sudden he goes out there and schools Brian Norman Jr., and all of a sudden y'all still thinking this dude is trash. Well, check this out. He's not. And now he's going to go out here and arguably, again, we talking about firemen. This fool runs into the fire once again, and they're talking about possibly fighting Keyshawn Davis. Now, who do I think will win that fight? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. And that fight gets closer and it gets announced, I'll break that down. But none of these men are dodging any smoke.
That's good to see, man. I mean, that's what was making me want to get back into the sport when you're seeing the people who really want to compete, you know, and especially when the outcome is fair.
Podcast, because we gonna let y'all know the best spot of all the fights. Hype you up for this shit. Let's go. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, this all good, man. That's the type of enthusiasm I want to hear. Hey, man, you remember back in the day when Mike Tyson, he had he was on being interviewed. I think it was by Russ. No, it wasn't Greenberg, but it was I don't know. He was right before one of his fights, and the guy interviewing was just like, "Hey, Mike, you bring a lot of anger, into the ring with you. Why do you do that? And Mike said, we're in a fight. What does it matter? And it just cracked. And the guy was annoyed because I think, Mike was in one of his mood and Mike just thought he was being an a-hole or whatever. And so, I think the interview ended with Mike Tyson telling the guy to go fuck himself. But that whole type of mentality that's what I want to see in sports, not just boxing. Yeah. I watched the NBA, everybody, clapping, hey, what's up? Let's go hit the club afterwards. That's, how's the family? Okay, you can be diplomatic at some point, but at some point, do you want to say, I want to take everything that you have? Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Yes.
I want to dunk on you. Yeah. I want to knock you out. Yeah. I want to do whatever the sport is. Like, I want to dominate you.
Yeah.
And so if that's coming back in boxing, you're going to start seeing me on your show a lot more. Because
there we go. Well, here's the thing. Fights. It is something I think that we're starting to see in combat sports and everything, especially boxing right now, especially with the addition of Turki Al-Sheikh coming in with the Ring Magazine and Rider Season and bringing the money to the table and forcing some of these matchups to happen. But what you said is a great segue, especially talking about individuals that how these athletes and these high-level athletes deal with the media. There was a moment this week on the Pivot Podcast with Ryan Clark, and he had a get Channing, whatever the fuck his name is, and then he had a moment with the great. They had Bud Crawford on the show, and there was a moment on the show, and again, just like you were just stating before, that was a little contentious. Let's bring that moment up, and we're going to discuss.
My thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if everything is about money?
Man.
Man, I think I heard his soul crack in real time.
Yeah.
Look, I brought that clip up for a number of reasons. One, it's the GOAT, Terrence Crawford, talking about it, but I think it brings up a good point. And we're talking about money not being everything. A lot of these athletes, and a lot of people are talking about, and again, I go out there and I talk about specifically, you know, the Zuffa contracts and people going out there and fighting for Zuffa, and people going out there and for those people who do not know, you know, obviously Zuffa Boxing, saying the parent company is UFC, all of them are still doing their thing. Just because these individuals are here, and it is an avenue for individuals to compete. Not all money is good money. If we look at the history of the UFC in Zuffa, they have paid out hundreds of millions of dollars to their athletes because of their predatory practices and contracts that they have had. Not all money is good money. We need to remember that. And again, Terrence Crawford speaks on that again. Charles, I want to get your POV on this and again, watching that clip.
You know, first off, you know, Terrence Crawford, he just seems a, you know, man of high integrity. So, you know, he said he was going to walk away from the sport. I took him for his word. You know, that's not to say he won't come back, you know, under certain conditions. You know, Jordan came back, you know, because he loved the sport. He missed it. You know, Jay-Z came back into rap, you know, under, you know, put another one out, you know, and I'm retired after this and then come back again. You know, if the love is killing you, you know, you not having it in your life is killing you, you know, then coming back, it makes sense. But to kind of pressure someone to come back for money, I think that's where Terrence Crawford is coming from. It's like, you can't offer me money to come back. It has to be a passion. And if your passion is money, then you probably don't have much integrity.
Exactly. And I think that is, I think the crux of the issue. And I think that we're seeing specifically, and for instance, we're looking at even a lot of these athletes. They're going out there and they are, you know, for all practical purposes, tap dancing for, you know, the Trump administration and things of that nature. We're watching these athletes go out there and do this because they're capitalists, not understanding how what they're essentially doing. They're taking money over their soul, essentially, over their communities. And when is enough enough? Again, I'm sure Terrence Crawford's looking at it. He's somebody who has been smart with his money, has multiple investments, lives in a place. He lives in Oklahoma, or sorry, Nebraska. He lives in Nebraska.
Yeah.
He's that's why he's like, I don't want to live in New York or LA or anything. I'm at home. I'm putting money into my community. I have so much money. I just made over $100 million my last fight. I don't need to do that again. And that's what it is. I think people are driven by greed, and we are consistently seeing, and we have been in positions right now that this type of greed breeds individuality. And when we're looking at individuality and greed in that way, it is impossible for communities to grow when that is happening.
You know, I try to stay away from politics, and I don't want to politicize anything I'm about to say, but, you know, I grew up in the 80s during the the Reaganomics, the greed
That
is
never
good
worked.
era.
That trickle down
And
shit that didn't trickle
yeah,
nowhere.
it doesn't work. I mean, there were times when people, you know, that greed is good era. The movie Wall Street was based on Michael Douglas's character
Great
was based
movie.
on
Great.
Ivan Boesky, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But Ivan Boesky, Michael Milken, before he got in trouble, got Leona Helmsley, Donald Trump. They were like the epitome of just, you know, opulence. Take, you know, get as much as you possibly can. If that's what you're into, again, not trying to politicize, that's what you're into, go with it. It's just not the people that I want to surround myself with.
Exactly.
I think this is what Crawford is saying. It's like when you're passionate about something, the money will come, you know, and you need to be comfortable with that. You know, well, you are going to be comfortable with that. It's not, you don't need to. You're going to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that, you know, just, hey, you know, all right, I need $101 million to, you know, for a hospital bill for my daughter. Okay, I'm going to be in that ring. That's a different story. But just to have opulence, that's, you know, to me is just saying I want to put myself on this level where I can just, everybody can see me. I can look down on everybody else.
Power and ego.
It just doesn't feel
That's what
right.
it boils down to. I want power and I want my ego to be stroked. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point in my life now that yes, do I want more financial abundance? Absolutely, because I want a level of comfort. But to sit there and say that I am not abundant is a fallacy. I'm extremely abundant. I'm abundant with love from family. I'm abundant with gifts. I have a roof over my head. I got food in the fridge. I'm actively helping my community. I'm sitting here speaking in platforms like this about topics that I believe in and things that I'm passionate about. That's how we help give back to the community in a different way. Okay.
Here's economics. Here's economics. And sometimes the people who are just like greedy and just want more and more and more that they don't understand. They look at the world as a piece of pie, as a pie.
Yep.
All right. And they say, I got to get as much as that pie before it's gone. And that's a wrong way of thinking things. What you want to do, and this is how life is, the pie's going to grow. And your job should be, as a human, is to help grow that pie. And then everybody can have some. Some people may only have a little bit. That may all that they want, you know, all that they need. Some people may want a lot of that pie, and that's fine too, you know, but find a way to help the pie grow rather than just take away where then nobody, you know, some people just don't have any at all. It's just ridiculous. There's plenty enough to go around. There's a way to make it where everybody can have some. And I do think that, you know, sports and boxing, you know, boxing kind of screwed itself, you know, in the, you know, the Don King, Bob Arum days and things like that, but it feels like it's coming back, and it
absolutely is, because this Zuffa contract that I started in the beginning of the contract is a more predatory contract than Don King's contracts.
Jeez,
it is more predatory than Don King's contracts. That it almost seems impossible to think of that, but you know what? Again, here's the problem with that. This week, Shakur Stevenson was stripped of his belt, of his WBC title, at 135 pounds by the WBC and the WBC CEO and president, Mauricio Suleiman. The WBC had nothing to do with this last title fight. This was a WBO title fight. So essentially what the WBC was saying is, well, because you fought and you're a champion, even though we didn't sanction this bout, you need to grease us a little bit. I need you to give me $100,000 as a tax just because you fought. And Shakur's like, I'm not paying that. So they're like, well, you're no longer a champion for us. And they stripped his belt. Jeez. This is the problem with that. When you guys do this, WBC, you idiots, when you do this, what ends up happening is you have everybody run directly to Zuffa and to those type of predatory, because they're looking at it, well, the belt system and these organizations don't work, so I don't care about them. So now I'm going to go to these other guys because the grass has to be greener on the other side, even though it's not. WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, if you are listening, look at me right here. You are messing up boxing, Mauricio Suleiman. I have met you. We have met a number of times. And I'm telling you right now, what you are doing to the champions, specifically the black champions, because let's not forget when Canelo Alvarez spent years ducking David Benavidez. You did not strip him. You created multiple interim belts so he wouldn't fight David Benavidez, while he went up to 175 pounds and lost to B-Ball and then came back down and did everything else aside from fight his mandatory. Shakur Stevenson 6 months ago fought his mandatory for your belt and paid the sanctioning fee for that specifically. And you going out here stripping him of his title is all it's going to do is push people into essentially the evil empire. Now, Zuffa and Dana White and the UFC and TKO are going to sit there and say, this is exactly what we want. Now, all these athletes are going to come to us, and it's going to, and again, now it's just going to fix everything up. Where the WBC is just, absolutely. Let them know. It's evil, and more importantly, it's just stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you do it? And again, time and time again, the WBC proves that they're doing it. Mauricio Suleiman, when it comes to Mexican fighters, Canelo Alvarez, he would just sit there with Pitbull Cruz. Everything was good. He literally just gave Ryan Garcia a title shot after Ryan Garcia lost his last fight. And he still gets rewarded with a title shot. Mauricio Suleiman, you need to do better. All right. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Preach.
Let me get this back where my man's at. All right. And everybody who's watching live, 14 Wellington, thank you so much for watching us live on the show. We really appreciate you. Make sure you please subscribe. All right. My brother Charles, anything else you wanted to touch on before we get up out of here today?
No, man. I just hope I'm not watering your show down. Say it again.
Thank you for letting me go on my rant for a second.
Oh no, hey man, it's your show. I just hope I'm not watering it down, with my 2 cents on it. But again, it's a great show. I can't wait to see it grow. And
exactly what he said. Exactly what 14 Wellington said. I wouldn't trust Zuffa and Dana. I wouldn't trust that big duck plucker as far as I can throw him, and I know I can't throw him that damn far.
Well, man, I'll tell you one thing. Dana White, yeah, he's I'll say he's a smart businessman. The way that he penetrated boxing and exposed themselves because of the corruption that they were displaying back in the 90s and 2000s. And he saw the frustration from the boxers, and some of the earlier on it was really tough for a lot of fighters to get into boxing, so they went to MMA. And Dana White seemed like the knight. I wouldn't armor
back on that a little bit. And the reason I'm gonna push back, I don't think people that were boxers transition to MMA. I don't really think that would be a thing. I think the issue, more for anything else, I think those athletes went to other sports. I think they went to basketball and football. That's why we don't have some like the heavyweight champions and things like that we do. We don't have that basketball contracts. Those same guys, 6'4", 6'5", went to those other sports. Those guys who are Ali size and things of that nature in the 60s, 70s, and 80s ended up again playing sports that they looked at will make more money. I don't think MMA is just starting to get in popularity in that regard. And so that's one reason I push back on the people going to MMA on that one.
All good. I'm not qualified enough to argue with you, but my point is with Dana White is that he saw an opportunity, with the weakness in boxing, he took it. Yeah. So I'll give him that, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing. It's just like, you know better than how those record execs were taking advantage of the black artists back in the 50s and 60s. It's another form of it, just in a different industry, and I can't stand it.
Yep.
And it sucks because you have these guys who are really passionate, working their ass off, and have no kind of support into protecting themselves from predatory contracts like that, and then they get stuck. What do I do? Do nothing? Or do I just go forward and try to move forward and try to get the most out of these peanuts that they're offering me? I don't like it. It's terrible. Again, the pie is big enough. You don't have to do this, but they're doing it because they're greedy.
Yeah, and one thing that it always frustrates me is when I'm talking to people and people are just essentially on the side of the evil empire. They're just like, I don't want it to change, because if it changes, the brand that I associate with would suffer. They don't care about the athletes. They care about the brand. And there is a specific reason why, even when Zuffa was promoted, when it was finally had their first commercial, they had Dana White front and center. The star is Dana White. The star is not the athletes. Yeah. And that is what they've done. That is what the UFC has done. And again, they're building it in that way. He's the star. The Shield is the star. The athlete gets nothing.
Yeah, that's the Puff Daddy, P. Diddy thing. I was just watching that docuseries on that, and they were, where Andre Harrell kind of told Puff Daddy, hey, the artist is second to us. And that's how all of those guys get screwed.
Justice for TLC, damn it. They got screwed.
Yes. Oh my God.
Man.
Who was that? Pebbles? Who was their manager? Took all their money.
Oh, yeah. Oh man. Oh, that Justice for TLC is right, damn it. That's insane.
I agree.
All right.
One more thing. We don't have to get into it because I didn't see the fight. But my man who got his toupee knocked off, he needs to hit us up. He needs some bump serum.
Hey, that's exact. Big Jermell, Big Baby Miller. We talked about you last show. Check this out. We see you lost your wig because you put on Beijing, and the Beijing done zap your wig back, right? And then I seen up under here you had some nuck if you buck up under here. We can fix that. Hit us up with bump serum. Telling you,
the back of the head too. He probably got bumps in the back of the head.
Hey,
we can take care of all of that.
Hey, hit us up, Drill Miller. We gonna make sure we gonna take care of you. You know what I'm saying?
The kits are coming out soon. So the manufacturers, we're getting really close. Yeah, the whole tariff war thing kind of delayed us, but they're coming soon. I'm gonna make sure that the Fight Podcast, we're gonna give Serge Vicente some of these so he can be strategic, and we get to give some free ones out to to the audience members. Absolutely. Just guys want you to sign up. At the end of the day, we just want to solve the razor bump issue, because especially guys in the military, you guys are getting hit hard, and it's not right. So if you can't get the laser hair removal, reduction, whatever system you have that's not working for you, bump serum likely will work for you. You're gonna have to check it out. We're gonna help you out.
I'm telling you, just to piggyback off what Charles said, look, I would not bring anything or a product or talk about a product on my show if I didn't use it or I didn't believe in it. I use the bump serum. I've seen how good it is, and I've spoke about it last episode a little bit. Man, I use a straight razor when I shave. I line up my beard. I keep a beard. You guys see me. I'll get a big beard. I cut it down. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But I always keep some kind of facial hair. I don't ever shave it all the way off. But I do line it up. And then when that happens, I always used to get like a lot of you know how it is when you have to shave. Guys, come on, holler at me in the comments. Let me know. You get the red rashes and things like that sometimes on your face when you're doing that, because you have to go over it. Ever since I started using the bump serum, it not only has it gone away, it has been, I'm talking about, my skin has been glowing. My lady is over here talking about oh man, you've been so grown and sexy recently. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you, bump serum.
And she'll like it too. Like my man Frank Thomas in the commercial. But no, seriously, man. Hey, I'm a dark-skinned black man. I had nasty razor bumps under here. A little bit here, but it was real bad here. But hey, man, I'm telling you, the system works, and we want to make sure that we get it out to you guys so you can experience it as well.
Will do, man. No, that's amazing. It's fantastic product. Can't wait to get it to you guys. But check it out. With that being said, there's a lot going on. Obviously, we got some boxing today. Nick Balls is defending his title on Queensberry. I'll be talking about that a little bit on Monday. We'll also touch on the Royal Rumble, what happened with that. Our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, is back. So we'll go ahead and do it. Oh, okay. Here's a good question, actually. Here's a great question. Really quick. Where do we get the serum?
Okay.
The bumpserum.com. You will have 10% that'll pop up on there. Am I right on that?
Correct. So the website is thebumpserum.com, and you'll get a page. Sign up now to get you 10% off. Please do that so we can start, getting your information. Once we're ready to launch, probably next month and a half or so, you get that 10% off for the Fight podcast. We're going to give another code later on. We're going to give another code, so you get another percentage off on top of that 10%. But get in there and sign up right now so you can at least lock in that first 10%.
Yeah. Keep watching, and I'm telling you guys, I'm not just saying it because Charles is here. Like, fam, I use it every day. Like, it really is a fantastic product, and I'm gonna get one. Like, it's my little brother's birthday is about to come up. My dad's birthday is coming up. They both shave, and my brother actually gets a lot of shaving bumps and stuff. I'm getting it for him because it's that good. So yeah, check it out, man. 14 Wellington, man. I appreciate you, bro.
So as do I.
All right. Well, look, with that being said, like, share, and subscribe. Check out our Substack. Check us out on all social media platforms. Love y'all. I want to thank my guest, the president and CEO of the Bump Serum, Charles Johnson. My brother, thank you so much for coming up. Chicago's very own. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. All right, everybody. Love y'all. We'll see you next time right here on the Fight Podcast. Peace out.